known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
And we are off and running here on wow, what is today? I believe today, if I'm not mistaken, is a very special day here across Wager Talk and the Wager Talk family, because we have none other than a birthday that we are celebrating. That birthday, of course, is to our good friend, Mr. Dave Koken. And to celebrate, we got a bunch of games that we want to go over as well with you. See if we can make it a very profitable birthday day here for Dave Koken. Let's bring in the crew if we can. We've got none other than our good friend Matt Josephs also filling in for Ralph Michaels today. Dave Koken, birthday boy, and Tony Mejia in the upper, my neighbor here to the left of me or right from me. I'm not sure which way it's going. We got 4 games to talk to today. Arkansas, LSU. Tech versus Texas, Tulsa versus Wichita State, and NC State versus Florida State. So, Tony Mejia, I'm going to start with you because you and I, we had an interesting conversation, I believe, last night about a couple of these, couple of the games that were on the board. One of them, of course, was with our good friends there at Oklahoma State and Kansas. Talk to me about how your night was and what you got going on here today at Wager Talk.
Well, happy birthday, first of all, to the great Dave Koken. Pleasure to be on with you today of all days. And yeah, I mean, like I told you, Joe, I feel like a mush right now because I'm hitting the games that are blowouts, and anything that I need to go my way down the stretch. I mean, I seemingly lead the world in games that you lead going into the final minute or down under the 4-minute timeout and end up losing. Oklahoma State, Kansas was such a game last night, and you're an alum, obviously. So I don't know how you feel about getting a victory like that. Where you do all the right things down the stretch and vanquish a Kansas squad that is considered probably a top 3 seed. So a big win for the Cowboys, but obviously I was on Kansas and games like that. I had an Ole Miss meltdown at Florida. It just seemingly is going that way in the college game for me.
Yeah, it's one of those. It was just one of those nights in a couple of spots there. Before we get to the birthday boy, Matt Josephs in the house, SportsMemo.com. Matty, talk to us. How was your night last night? What do you got going on today over at SportsMemo.com?
1-1 night for me. I was on the Gators last night. Wasn't thrilled when the Scotty Lewis news came out, but they still pulled through for me. And unfortunately, I've now added somebody to my shit list. It is TCU. I'm done with TCU. They stink. I think both times I've played them, they've gotten blown out this year. So a 1-1 night, and I've got a 4-pack up, including some team totals and a first half play over at SportsMemo.com.
All right, good night, man. Coming your way. Let's talk about it. Dave Koken, happy birthday, first and foremost. We missed you yesterday. What do you got going on today, in fact, for the birthday? We saw the package you got right now, 10 days all access, guys, for Dave. All yours for just $68. Use the code LEGEND68. But how was your college basketball over the last couple days?
I'm real happy with the basketball and football right now. It's been good. The only thing I messed up last weekend was the golf. I didn't have a good tournament of champions, but we'll get that back. But the hoops have been good. Only 1-1 last night, but that actually snapped a streak. I had 8 straight best bet winners in college basketball and missed with Butler last night, but got a winner with Marquette, so I was okay with that. 2 games today. I've got a best bet on Texas Tech, Texas. We're going to talk about that game on this show, so I'll kind of defer on that one. Also have a play that I'll use as the best bet here on the show. That is a selection of mine. And again, that special is, look, it's a good special. 10 days, you get everything I've got for $68. Hopefully there'll be 1 or 2 5% plays somewhere along the line of those. We've got 16 and 2 on those going back like more than a year. So everything's okay right now. We'll see if we can keep it going.
All right. We're going to see if we can't make it a very happy and profitable birthday for Dave here. We'll start before we dive into these 4 games. Give you a look at their Twitter handles right now so you guys know how to reach them outside of here. At Mejia Dinero, Tony Mejia, Mid-Major Matt, at Mid-Major Matt, and, of course, Dave, at Dave Koken. Make sure you are following them, guys. And let's take a look real quick at some of those performances from last night. There were, again, like Tony had said, some very interesting games across the board last night. USC coming back. Wow, Evan Mobley, freshman of the year, Dave. Is that the rumors I hear? The kid is the real deal. I mean, what else can you say about him in USC?
I don't know about freshman of the year. Well, I mean, there's a lot of good freshmen out there.
Yeah.
And I don't pay attention to those awards anyway. USC had their hands full last night, though. It was a real flat spot for them, and Riverside took them to overtime. I should have bet that game. I liked Riverside plus a lot of points and never pulled the trigger on it. Sometimes you regret that the next day. But, USC continues to be the same thing. You've got to try and gauge when they're going to be ready to play and when they're not. Enfield has had a lot of problems getting that team to show up on a regular basis.
Yeah, kind of crazy. A lot of talent there for sure. And some of the hits last night, some of the biggest covers that we witnessed there on across the board last night.
You know what that's going to be.
Well, yeah. Oklahoma TCU.
I'm going to tell you. Let's talk about this team for a second.
Go ahead.
I think it's time to put Michigan in that number 1 seed slot. That was spectacular last night against Wisconsin. They went on a 30-2 run in that game. 30-2 against Wisconsin. I mean, the Badgers are a good team. And Michigan made them look like a bunch of high school players last night. This team is right there with Baylor and Gonzaga, and they've got the number 1 recruiting class coming in. I know I guess Michigan's been thought of as a football school for all these years. Maybe it still is, but the basketball program is absolutely sensational right now.
Nothing you can say. I mean, Wisconsin, a loaded team, and they got absolutely annihilated in that game. Up by 40, Michigan was at one point. It was just absolutely crazy. Blowout. Also, Oklahoma taking out frustrations on TCU, held them to under 50 points there. Oklahoma State almost blew the second half lead there last night, but they managed to hold on to take care of business at Henry Iba against Kansas. Some of the totals last night that were of interest across the college basketball landscape. St. John's Butler going right under the total. A lot of people thought there were going to be some scoring there. Not so much. And, of course, Toledo Eastern Michigan was another one that flew over in that one, 16 in that game. But I like the games here tonight, guys. I think we're getting to that point in the season where we've got some real interesting conference matchups. And why don't we start in the Big 12 with actually, I'm sorry, we'll start in the SEC. Let's go to Arkansas taking on LSU. We'll start in that game here tonight. And Dave, I'm going to start with you, my friend. LSU, we've talked about them in the past on this show. They are a 2.5-point favorite. Total opens up at 157.5. Arkansas continuing to, I don't want to say, maybe, I don't know. They just played on Saturday, right? They just routed Georgia, I think it was, 99, almost scored 100 points. How do you have these two lined up right now at this point in the season, Arkansas, LSU?
Pretty much dead even. I don't think there's much of a differential between these teams. Arkansas is a young team. They're still going to have some games that aren't sensational. But, boy, that was a nice bounce back over the weekend against Georgia. LSU is just a really good team. Two very effective, efficient offenses here. I think Arkansas might be a little better defensive team, but LSU is certainly capable. I don't think there's much to choose in this game. I think the line's right where it should be. LSU being given about a 2-point home court advantage in an otherwise even game. So not much to say in terms of picking a winner in the game. I don't think this is a bettable game.
Kind of tough. Matt, it is a coin flip at this particular situation here. Where are you leaning if you were going to approach this game? How are you attacking it?
Well, I mean, all to say, it depends on Cameron Thomas. I mean, LSU without Cameron Thomas is not as good as it is with Cameron Thomas, and he's a game-time decision. You look at all his KenPom numbers and how much he's involved in the offense. He takes 36% of the shots around there, and they have other guys. Javonte Smart and Watford will take a step up here. But, I mean, to me, it really becomes – kind of a guessing game, because if they do announce that Thomas plays and it gets closer, then the line's going to move. If you want to guess that maybe Thomas plays and, get this short line, then you take the home team. If you want to take a chance that he doesn't play, then you kind of wait and see if there's some value afterwards. But to me, the handicap goes to, is Thomas going to play? If so, I like him at home. And if he doesn't, I think Arkansas is a live dog in this one.
I want to jump in for a second because I will respectfully disagree. I'm not arguing against Cameron Thomas being the best player on the team, but we keep seeing this over and over and over again. At least in the first game where the star isn't playing, you get a tremendous effort out of these teams, and it's been tremendous this year. I mean, game after game with key players that are missing, and the team goes out there and puts forth a spectacular effort. Look no further than Oklahoma last night. I mean, Oklahoma's missing 2 guys and went out there and just beat the crap out of TCU. I got to tell you, if Thomas is out, if I find out Thomas is out before the game and you get a line adjustment, I will take LSU at that point because I know you'll get a focused effort from everybody else tonight.
All right, down to 1.5. I'm seeing across the board in a lot of different books. There are some 2s opened up at that 3 mark. And Tony, I won't ask you to go into it here because I know you've got something special on this game. We'll touch base on a little bit later. But any initial thoughts that you want to mention about the game here?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are calling it a coin flip. It's my best bet. So I think Cameron Thomas is going to play. Just from reading the tea leaves, I mean, Koken's right about the star player going down and guys collectively picking that up, but that's already happened. I mean, he went down in the first half of that Ole Miss game in Oxford, and both Smart and Watford really stepped it up, and other guys really played well. And I think if he doesn't go tonight, you can count on another great effort, especially at home. But I do think he'll play, and so I think you get the best line while you can, especially if it's down to 1.5, because immediately after that injury, it was him landing awkwardly. They said he's going to be fine up until the week. Will Wade said, I think he'll play. And then he somewhat practiced, got some work in. I mean, all signs point to him going. And I think it's a little gamesmanship from Will Wade towards Eric Musselman in terms of game time decision.
All right, we'll get Tony's best bet coming up, but we will head to another game. And Matt, I'm going to start with you, my friend. Let's talk a little Tulsa, Wichita State, if we can here. 2 AAC teams, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Tulsa just entered this game. They're 7-3. They just beat South Florida. I think it was on the road. They've actually beat them pretty good, too, I believe by double digits. Game opens up at Wichita State, laying 1.5 here, total 132.5. What's your feeling on these 2 teams at this point in the season, Matt?
I mean, Tulsa's playing great basketball. Winners of 6 straight. Going to Cincinnati and winning. Going to South Florida. There are teams that have had sleepy times in South Florida. And you look at this team; they play with a really slow pace. They're one of the slowest teams. It takes teams a long time to get shots off against them. 18.1 seconds when it comes to defense. And you look 13th against the 2-pointers at 42%. Tulsa's defense travels, and that's the one thing that with this Golden Hurricane team is that home or road defense travels. And Wichita State, look. And when the season started, it was kind of an interesting start to the season because they had all those guys with COVID and they were playing with such a short bench. But I think in a way it kind of helped them out because they got some guys some minutes that maybe would not have played as much. I swear, Tulsa's one of these teams I literally can't get a good feel on other than playing them at Temple in Oklahoma. I literally have gotten Tulsa games wrong every time. I don't see why they're not a bad team to play here in this situation, but Wichita State's going to give them a battle.
Yeah. We've talked about him a bunch of times on this on the show here, Dave, about this Tulsa team and Wichita State. We haven't talked much about them. I don't know if you've had a chance to see them, but where do you have this Tulsa team right now?
No, Tulsa's solid. I don't think they're an NCAA tournament team. I don't think Wichita is either. But they're good clubs. Wichita has, I think, done admirably well when you consider everything with player departures that they had, and then the Marshall thing. Isaac Brown stepped in and done a very good job under adverse circumstances. One of the wins was at Tulsa. So you've got a same season revenge situation here. And I tend to like road teams, road dogs, if they lost a close game at home the first time around. I will generally add 1, maybe 1.5 points to my game projection. And that was a game, by the way, Tulsa never led. They were basically never in the game. They got it close late, but they were way down in that basketball game. So it was not a good performance by Tulsa. I think you're going to see them pretty motivated tonight, and I would lean to that side.
And talk to us, Tony. Here, where do you lie on this game here? Wichita State taking on Tulsa. Are you back in Tulsa in this?
I would, yeah. I mean, I'm going to look at some things after this, but that's certainly where I'm leaning. The game you guys are referencing happened on December 15th, and Tulsa has not lost since. So they're on quite the run. They're holding teams to 35% in American Athletic Conference play, and beyond the revenge factor, they haven't won in the Roundhouse since 2001. But it's a team that's really doing things that other Golden Hurricane teams haven't been able to do. They're the first team to win at Cincinnati since 1967. They're a team that's really difficult to score against, but has some spurtability offensively. Like they can create turnovers and turn them into points. And if you're struggling to get to 60 and you have a team that really makes everything difficult and then breaks off an 8-0, 10-0 run, that's like a 16, 18-0 run against normal teams with normal paces. So I really like this Tulsa team getting points. I would lean that way. And I'd also look at the under, since this, to me, seems like a race to 65, and the total's in the low 130s.
Yeah, interesting. Opened up at that 131, 132 mark, and seems to be creeping up a little bit there. So we'll see where that number ends up. But I do want to let you guys know that in addition to this being Dave's birthday and the opportunity for you to get a 10-day all-access pass, every one of Dave's plays across golf, college basketball, and I mean anything that Dave puts out there in the next 10 days, all yours for just $68. Use the code LEGEND68 at checkout for that. But outside of that, guys, you can get 30 days all access with Matt or Tony Mejia right now, $199. Every NBA and college basketball play they post, all yours the next month. Get 30 days, every play in basketball for just $199. All right, let's Tony, I'm going to come back to you, my friend. Let's talk a little ACC here, and Florida State taking on NC State. Now, Florida State, not one game in 2021 yet here, having some COVID issues. They are back at it here. They did open up the season 4-0. They're now 5-2, and NC State's trying to avoid the kind of a little bit of a slide here. They're coming off a home loss to I don't even know how the hell that happened, but they lost to Miami. So tell me, where do you lie with NC State, Florida State here? Are you worried about rust at all?
You can. I mean, the thing with Florida State is they are deep, and you figure that if they put in a full week of practices and Leonard Hamilton says he's got everybody available, that they're going to make life difficult for themselves enough to where they should be prepared for this game. NC State has been in every contest. So we've got an FSU team that we saw them lost to Clemson. They dropped 2 out of 3 because they had that home loss to UCF. That was their first of the season. So, I'm probably vice president of the Scotty Barnes fan club. I'm sure there's somebody else that likes him more than me, but really like him. And the Wolfpack are, very similar to FSU in that they're front court laden. They've got a lot of big, agile, athletic bodies, and guard play in this one should be interesting. So you mentioned rust. I do think it's going to be difficult for FSU to hit the ground running, and NC State's going to make everything difficult. And last year's game, I believe it was 67-61, a win for FSU in Raleigh, was one of NC State's lowest scoring games of the season. And Kevin Keats likes to get up and down, but I think in this game, between all the size involved, FSU's rust factor, the fact NC State's on the road, this has the potential to be sloppier than expected. And the total, I would have expected it at 147, 148. It's down in the low 140s. All signs to me point to the under.
Dave, how do you look at it? And this year's been so unique with the COVID and some of these extended layoffs for some of these kids and these teams. How do you approach Florida State in this matchup?
That's been an unpredictable factor because we don't know what's going on. And, some teams have really struggled coming off these lengthy breaks, and some teams have been fine. So I don't know. I've just kind of, that's a coin flip to me. What I do kind of like this matchup for the Seminoles. Look, they're still an extraordinarily athletic team that goes really deep. Now, they're not as good as last year's team for a variety of reasons. But to me, the games where they're going to do the best are the games where they're going to be up against an opponent that likes to run the court. And they're going to get that here with NC State. NC State's, one of the quicker tempo. They can be a quick tempo team. I think where Florida State's going to have trouble is against teams that slow them down and take away their athleticism. I don't think NC State does that necessarily. I lean Seminoles here. I think it's a pretty competitive game. I didn't play it, but I think Florida State will win it. And with the number where it is, I guess that's the only side I'd play.
Matt, how are you approaching this game in the ACC tonight? Total perspective, team total, how are you looking at the Florida State and the Wolfpack here?
I don't trust NC State. I just don't. I mean, there's a lot of things about this team that they get in certain games and they just, like the Miami Egg last week, and you look at a Miami team that just lost by 23 or 22 to Boston College last night. I mean, it's just, we don't know what we're going to get from an NC State team. Now, here's the thing. So if you are concerned about any sort of rust here from Florida State, maybe you live bet it. Maybe NC State's up early. It's like the 12-minute mark in the first half, and NC State's up 5 or 6. Maybe you take a live bet and get a better number on Florida State. I think Florida State wins, but I do think rust potentially could be a concern. The other thing I don't, when it comes to deeper teams, trying to find the right combination on a night-to-night basis may take a little time. Now, Leonard Hamilton has experience with that because all of his teams are like 12 deep, it feels like. But, when you've got the rust and trying to find the right combinations, maybe you wait and you live bet the Seminoles at some point when they're down because you'll get a better number than this.
All right, good stuff there. Make sure, also, guys, make sure you're checking out Matt at sportsmemo.com. Always great information on his Twitter page, too, at MidMajorMatt. That takes us, guys, to the final game here for us to break down here tonight before we get to some of our best bets. Plus, of course, the gold sheet play of the day. Let's turn to it, guys. The almighty Texas Tech taking on the Texas Longhorns, the Big 12 matchup of the night. It looks a lot like a pig and a tiger, but it's actually a little bit different here. There we go. We're going Longhorns versus Texas Tech. Opens up at -3 Texas. Total hanging around that 135 mark. So let me start again with you, Matt, in this particular situation here. I almost want to look at it and just say maybe under, or I don't know. I know these two teams don't like each other. How do you have them lined up tonight?
Well, I was really high going on into the season on Texas Tech. When I was looking at – because I have a future on them at 35-1 to win the championship. Now, it doesn't look as good because there's teams above them. But when you've got a veteran coach like Chris Beard and you've got these transfers that they're slowly getting back into play, and I like Mac McClung. I watched Marcus Santos Silva at VCU. There's a lot to like about this Texas Tech team. When the line first came out, I was like, this is there's a couple of points here. I thought it would be more of a pick 'em because that Texas Tech is going to grind this thing out and play a lot of good defense. I actually don't think – I think it's a good matchup for Texas. I think there's some room here, and I would actually look at the underdog here. I think Texas Tech is going to make this a grind. They're going to defend the three-pointer really well, and it could be a lower-scoring game as well. You've got two teams that defend the three pretty well.
Yeah, it looks like the under keeps going down and down and down from the open here, Tony. We can expect some defense in this spot. I don't know. Would you be shocked? Are you looking at the over at this point?
No, I wouldn't look at the over here at all. I mean, this is one of those games where Texas has accomplished a lot. Obviously, they opened 2021 with that blowout of Kansas, which looks a little less impressive given what happened last night in Stillwater. But still, one of those games where everybody took notice of. And maybe that's where this is going, because Matt mentioned that this is closer to a pick 'em for him. I think I would take the points with Texas Tech. Chris Beard has had Shaka Smart's number 5 of 6. 5 of the last 6 meetings have gone Texas Tech's way. And Mac McClung is on a heater. He's shooting 58% over the last 3 games. Texas comes off a victory in Morgantown against West Virginia in a game they almost lost. They needed an Andrew Jones three-pointer to bail them out. So, over the last few games, I think since the Kansas win, Texas level has come down a few notches. Maybe they're ripe for the upset here.
All right. I know, Dave, this is actually your best bet here, so we won't dive into it fully. But Any initial thoughts on it? And again,
Yeah,
just to remind everyone, it's his birthday.
Very initial thoughts, which is why I made it my best bet.
Yeah, which he loves it. Exactly. But any talk to us about the birthday celebration and, of course, the promo, because it's all week. Today is your birthday, but the promotion is all week long through Sunday. 10 days all access, correct?
Yeah, everything I play over the next 10 days. You can sign up for this anytime between now and the weekend, Sunday. So it'll be 10 days from when you sign up. And you'll get everything I do, which is what's left of the NFL, NHL, which gets underway tonight. I'm not playing a lot early on in the NHL. College basketball, which is going quite well right now. Golf, if you want to play that. And, well, there's no baseball yet, so you won't get that. But you'll get everything for 10 days. I don't do the NBA, for those who are curious. I will leave that to better minds than mine. So it's a good deal. Use the coupon code, which I don't know what that is.
Legend 68.
Oh, Legend 68. Okay.
Yep.
Can't wait to see what they come up with 69th.
I can't wait either. And I tell you the truth, I cannot wait either. I love it. All right, Matt, we're going to start with you because you are sitting in Ralph Michaels' chair. And that means you're probably going to pick a team that's part intramural, part Division 9, somewhere along those lines. So go ahead and tell me, what is your best bet of the night here in college hoops, Matt? And don't disappoint.
It's not quite Division 9, but it is the Southland, and I'm heading out to Central Arkansas, and I'm taking a team total here. I think over 72.5 for Central Arkansas tonight. They are on the road at Stephen F. Austin, and if you look, Stephen F. Austin has the most fascinating defense in the country. If you look at their KenPom numbers, there's a lot of green and a lot of red. They are the most. They first forced the most turnovers at 29.6%. They're number one there. But when you actually do get to shoot it on them, you do pretty well. They are 299th in two-point defense, 344th in three-point defense. They've played 3 games against lower-level teams so far this year. They give 79 points to something called LSU Alexandria. No offense to those in the chat who may have gone there. They give 71 points to Midwestern State. No offense if you've gone there either. Teams could do it. Central Arkansas can. Central Arkansas is 3-8 on the season. They've gone over 70 points 6 times, including all 3 of their games in conference. They're a good three-point shooting team. They're a solid free throw shooting team, and they're 14th in pace too. So there should be plenty of possessions. Last year in this game, they scored 76 and 67. So I'm going to take a shot with the over for the Central Arkansas Bears at 72.5 points for tonight.
That's you did not disappoint, Matt. Very good, man. Appreciate that. All right. Tony Mejia, talk to us, my man. We touched base on the game a little bit earlier. Break it down for us, this LSU-Arkansas game, your best bet of the night.
Well, my inclination is that Cameron Thomas is going to play. And Eric Musselman has 9 scholarship players available. He says he only needs 7. This is going to be a track meet that brings in to the fold potential foul trouble with a fast-paced game. I think Will Wade is going, especially if he has Thomas, to push tempo as much as possible, try to get some of these guys in foul trouble. At this point, Vance Jackson and Devontae Davis joined the Hogs starting lineup the other night for the first time. They combined to shoot 14 for 24 from the field and scored 35 points. And it was Arkansas's best shooting performance of the season, but it was against Georgia. And Georgia's probably the bottom feeder in the SEC this season. So this is going to be a step up in class on the road. Just not enough points for me to take Arkansas. In fact, if Cameron Thomas plays, I think this line shoots up past the key number of 3.5. So give me the 2.5 and ride LSU at home.
All right, let's do it, Tony. Thank you. And Dave, drum roll, please. Here, where are you going? Best bet on the board here. Your birthday play today.
Well, I played 2 games last night. The Texas Tech-Texas game, which I used as the best bet, and the Texas A&M Mississippi State game, which I played -6. Sent it out to all my Wager Talk players at -6. It's going up a little bit. Look, it's just not coming together for A&M. A couple of weeks ago, Buzz Williams was lamenting the fact that the preparation hasn't been good, and he seemed pretty frustrated. They went out, and I actually won or pushed this game. It was against Auburn. They ended up winning at the buzzer by 2, but they blew a big lead in that game and had a lot of problems with an Auburn trap that got thrown at them. And they've since had 2 bad games, got smashed by South Carolina, lost by double figures at home to Tennessee. It's just not coming together for this team. And the problem is the backcourt. It's just no good. Their assist-to-turnover ratio is really bad. They can't shoot the 3. They're up against the Mississippi State team that is far from perfect. But what they do best is defend in the paint. They're not easy to score against inside. And if A&M can't get their points inside, I don't know where they're going to get their points from. So it looks to me like a game where the power rating's about right. You know, if you power rate the game, Mississippi State be about 6. But the matchup favors the Bulldogs. And I think Mississippi State will get there by double figures tonight. So Mississippi State minus the points against Texas A&M. I think it's 6.5 now.
Yep.
And I'm with the Bulldogs there.
All right, good stuff there. And you're not alone with that play either, Dave, because our friends at the Gold Sheet happen to like this game as well in this spot here. And, of course, we invite you guys to head over to goldsheet.com, take advantage of the analytics, the write-ups, which, of course, you will see our own Tony Mejia will be writing up games in there all season long. So it's a great piece of information for you over at the goldsheet.com. I'm going Ohio State here tonight at home and open up to 8. It's pushing at 8.5, taking on Northwestern. Since Northwestern, I think, beat Ohio State, it was by 1 point, 71-70. They've lost 3 straight now in blowout fashion, and Ohio State's really starting to ratchet up, especially at home. 20-7 against the number in their last 27 at home, Ohio State is. So I'm going to lay the 8.5. I'm going to go Ohio State. But to recap it, guys, one more time, Matt Joseph's going with the Central Arkansas Ladybacks. Oh, no, Central Arkansas, that's right. Team total going the over 72.5 here. If you can find it, play it. Mississippi State, 6.5 for Dave Koken, Tony Mejia, LSU, laying that 1.5. I'm going to drop in with Ohio State laying the 8.5 at home. And, of course, Gold Sheet also agreeing with Dave Koken at 6.5. So on behalf of Tony Mejia, we appreciate the time, my friend. Thank you very much. Make sure you're following Tony. Matt Josephs, he is on his way to that Central Arkansas game, I believe. He's going to are you reffing that? Is that I think that's it. He'll be out on the court there. And then, of course, Dave Koken, birthday Dave Koken. And as a parting gift, Dave, Ralph was upset he couldn't make it here today, but he did want to wish you a happy birthday. He made a video for you, so we'll play that video on the way out. But best of luck with all the plays here, guys. Best of luck to you today. Come back, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Come back and join us again tomorrow as we do it all over again here on the College Basketball Tip-Off Show. Best of luck, guys. We'll talk again tomorrow. Happy birthday, Dave. Happy birthday, Dave.
Right now, you can lock
Thank
in
you.
30 days of any NBA or college basketball plays, including 5% best bets released from your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper for just $6.63 per day. A 30-day NBA pass is priced at $189 and a 30-day college basketball pass at $189. But you can get both for only $199. To take advantage of this special offer, just go to WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Choose your favorite handicapper and lock in all basketball action for the next 30 days. Even better, there's no limit to how many handicappers this offer can be redeemed on.